Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. Joseph James, SchoolTrade.com. It's June 30th, 2010. Here's your live trading recap. We finished up a huge month, last day of the month here, guys. Also the last day of the quarter here at the end of June. Now, before we talk about the trades we took today, we had another winning day in the room. I want to remind you guys about our blog. Our blog has everything you need to know to follow along with us in our live trade room, whether you're a member or a guest. Now, what you want to do, though, is on the blog, make sure you guys subscribe to our newsletter. Make sure you follow the blog, right? Subscribe to the blog. That way everything that's new is added. You're going to get it right away. We called some winning trades last night, guys. You take that 200 tick winner on the crude last night, huge winner. It was posted on the blog at about 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, so about midnight Eastern Time last night. We're calling trades on the blog. Plenty of time to get into these trades ahead of time, guys. So get on the blog, guys. Use the search box in the upper right-hand corner to search for any topics you want. And don't forget, guys, keep an eye on it because we're calling live trades overnight, in the middle of the afternoon. Whenever we see a pattern set up, we're putting it on the blog right now, guys, so you want to follow it. We had some huge winners last night. But in the room today, 3 total trades, 45 ticks. We can see we had a loss on gold. If we wouldn't have taken that loss, we would have had about 50, 60 ticks here. But, of course, had to bounce back after that loss on gold. 1 on crude. 2 on gold today. Now, one interesting thing today is we traded nothing but 13 range charts. So to finish up our month today, and of course, a record-breaking month, it's $450 today. That brings our weekly total to $3,000. $19,700 for the month so far, guys. Boy, that puts $2,000 more in our pocket than we made last month in the month of May on only 4 contracts. We're now over $70,000 for the year so far, guys. So a wonderful year. And we finished up a great record-breaking month here, biggest month of the year here on June. So we took 3 trades today, but as you can see, 3 trades. We went from 12 trades yesterday to 3 trades. So of course, as you can imagine, we had a kind of a slow start to the morning. We were concerned, obviously, that the rest of this week might be a little bit slow because we have, of course, tomorrow's July 1st, right? Happy Canada Day to everybody. Tomorrow's a somewhat holiday around the world. And then we have the 4th of July holiday this weekend on Sunday, so we're going to be closed on Friday. Closed on Monday, which means a lot of the traders out there are getting the barbecue warmed up, right? Getting the boat all filled up with gas and getting ready to go out on the lake this weekend. So I think a lot of us were kind of looking at this going, okay, this might be a pretty slow day today. Tomorrow might be slow as well. But of course, as always, we're going to trade right through all the chop and slop, follow our rules. And of course, guys, that's exactly how we do it every day. Some days will give us lots of opportunities. Some days might not give us any at all. Right? Some days we take losses, some days nothing but winners. But it all comes out in the wash, and you can see, big day here. Great week this week, great month this week. All we have to do is simply keep following our rules. All right? So a big month, but this morning we knew we had to be patient. Right? We knew this morning we're probably going to see a slow environment. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. So we waited, look and see what the volume looks like, and then be patient for those patterns. Now, we only took 3 trades today, guys. All 3 of them showed up on 13 range charts. So of course, you've got a good selection of different trades here. You've got your 4 range chart, right? That'll be your 1 minute, right? Maybe your 2 minute chart. All right? You've got your 13 range, and this is going to be similar to, anywhere from a 5 to an 8 minute chart. All right? So you can see we're looking at a slower time frame here on the 13 range chart. Okay, not going to be your typical scalps. This is going to be a little bit wider. Now, here's the first trade of the day here on crude. You can see here at 9:32, this was just after the 9:30 U.S. Open. And guys, as you guys know, we like to wait after the U.S. Open from 9:15 to 9:35. And what happened here was, you'll notice we're a couple minutes beforehand, 9:32, 9:33, we had this wave pattern setting up. Now, notice obviously how the wave pattern works. We're going to come down, right? Bounce off the lows and look for an entry on the retracement off those lows. Now you'll notice here we have the swing low, right? There's my swing low level right there. And so we want to make sure we get below this swing low for my entry, right? That's the most important part of this whole process, is that I've got to make sure we don't get back above that swing low. So you can see we come down, we bounce back up. I want to get my entry here below that swing low. Okay, that way this level of, right, what was support, that'll become overhead resistance. All right, so I'm going to use that swing low level as overhead resistance to provide, of course, more pressure to the downside for my short trade. Didn't get much out of this one here. Of course, coming in just after the U.S. Open, we expect to see things get pretty whippy there. That's why we like to avoid trading around there. But you can see, obviously, it then turned right around we had already taken our first profit target at plus 8, 2 off at 8. And then, of course, our entry plus 1, that's 16, right? 2 off at 8, right? 16. That's actually be 18. That should be 180 right there. That's wrong. Okay, so 18 ticks, 180 USD on our first trade of the morning. All right, guys? So we take, of course, 2 off at 8, move our stop down to entry minus 1. Then we took off at entry minus 1, so plus 1 times 2 contracts is 2. So 8, 16, right? Plus 2 is 18. There's our first trade of the morning. On a 13 range chart, a wave pattern short. Let's keep moving. Now, next up, we had 2 back-to-back trades here on gold. The first one was a loss. The second was, right, the winner. And as you guys can see here, we had kind of a unique situation. Now, again, this is on a 13 range chart. Okay, so it's going to be a 5, 8, maybe even a 10-minute chart. You'll notice we've got a couple things here. We have the previous high of day. And then we break through that previous high of day with our current high of day. Right, so think about this now. Now we have 2 levels of resistance overhead. It's like a brick wall, right? Buyers are going to try to break through this, but they've got to worry about yesterday's high of day, and they've got to worry about today's high of day. Now, guys, we know, right, high of day, we're looking for a reversal. So that's exactly what we're looking for here now. But, of course, on a 13 range chart, we're going to be putting our targets a little bit further out. We're going to be looking for a wider stop, try to grab this move as it comes down. All right, so the first trade, you can see we come up. We're going to bounce off these highs here, mark up our swing low, and I took the break of that swing low for the first trade of the morning. Okay, the first trade here, you can see 1020, 45.3 was our entry. Now, if you're thinking you've heard that number before, if you recall today, guys, on our 34 range chart, on our slow chart, we defined a level at 45.7. Now, we knew, of course, that 45.7 was a double top. Okay, 45.7. Double top, it happened at the previous high of day. Okay, so we marked up a double top at 45.7. Now, around these double tops, remember, guys, support and resistance, it's not a specific price level. It's going to be a range of prices. All right, so if I've got my double top here, right, at 45.7, I need to treat pretty much 3 or 4 ticks, maybe 5 ticks around that, okay, as kind of a precautionary, just because I don't want to get chopped up. So we're going to see what's going to happen. We're going to get lots of choppy price action until we can break out of that, right, and then head to the downside. Okay, so the challenge here was to get into this trade without being too close to that double top, because we knew the double top was going to get pretty messy. All right, guys, so the first trade here, as you can see, was a loss. We got in, big sellers in the tape. Here's our first move down, right? That's the candlestick right there for the first move down. All right, we had relatively choppy price action, but it looked decent, right? We got a couple ticks of profit before it ended up reversing against us here. And before long, we noticed our slower time frames, momentum was curling against us, right? What else we noticed? We noticed the speed of the tape was slowing down. We noticed we had big buyers jumping in here on the gold contract. So what I did was I exited early. Okay, once I realized, oh boy, wait a second, I may have made a mistake here. Once we broke above some resistance levels on slower time frames, I realized I better get this trade right now. So I got out at a -4 times 4 contracts is -16, right? 4 times 4 is 16. So that cost me 160 USD for my early exit on my first trade. Now, there are certain reasons why I chose to flatten my position rather than letting it run. And we talked about that in our live trade room today. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow and I'll show you guys live in real time what I'm watching to tell me to get out early. Right? It becomes a whole lot easier to make money if you can cut your losses early. So better to take 16 ticks than to take 26, right? Then we looked at it. It's okay. We got 45.7 is my level. Now I need to break above, or should I say break below that 45.7. And we liked the re-entry here now, right? Here was the re-entry. This time, though, we got the move we needed. You can see the entry here was at 44.9, right? So the second move here was the big winner. And you can see it was just a little bit further away from that double top at 45.7, 44.9. Apparently that's where the buyers lost control. Okay, we get in, we take, this time, of course, I tightened my targets up a little bit because we saw the price action wasn't looking so good. So I tightened the targets up, right, to +4, 2 off at 4, 1 off at 8, and then we trailed our stop, locking in 27 more ticks. So 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 27, 43 ticks. That's 430 USD. So what you want to notice here, though, guys, is I tightened everything up on the re-entry. Why did I do that?